The bridge pieces itself, it's a little bit different. The bridge plate, which is this whole plate part here, needs to be sitting perfectly flat on the guitar. Now, when I say perfectly flat, you shouldn't be able to slide a pick or a fingernail on the sides. You will usually be able to slide something behind, because there should generally be a little bit of a gap there, just a tiny little bit. That's normal. You want to look for any sort of dents, any cracks, anything that may indicate that there's something going on here, that's been repaired, or some emergencies have happened here. The saddle pieces, again, are going to come in a few different flavours. You're looking at the springs, you're looking for signs of rust. Again, any sign of rust, probably a bit of a worry, at least for a brand new guitar. But the springs should be fully, complete. They shouldn't be split or anything like that. The screws, again, shouldn't have any wear on the thread or anything like that. You will notice there's little screws on each top part of the saddle pieces. Hopefully you can see these little things here. Obviously, Google a picture and bring up a guitar straight up in front of you so you can see what I'm talking about. The things you'll look at, again, with all the screws, no wear and tear, no one's tried to grind them out, there's no wear on the thread, that sort of thing. You'll notice different heights, they affect the intonation. So when you go to play a guitar, it may not be intonated. That's basically a tuning. What that means is a tuning between your harmonic and your open tuning. Everything should be even balanced. These are adjusted to maintain that. A showroom guitar, generally good music stores will intonate the guitars that are on display, just so that you're really appreciating the sound that you're getting. But don't let that deter you if it's just not quite right, harmonics or anything like that. Obviously, bridge pieces can be changed, so be very cautious if something sort of looks like it's just a little bit too big, or the strings aren't lining up correctly. What I mean by that is that, say for example, your high E string just seems to sit a little bit too far this way. It sits in like that, or this sits out like that, or comes maybe right up to the edge of the fretboard, which it shouldn't. That would indicate the bridge may have been changed or is not adjusted correctly. And you probably want to ask the people in the store about that, hey, what's going on here? The final thing is, of course, you can't see it, is the jack. That screw should be nice and firm. It shouldn't be exposing too much of the, I don't know what you call it, I guess we'll call it the pipe of the jack itself, the inner part. If it's coming out too much, what that can indicate is that, and this is a habit with these style of guitars, is that the screw generally, by unplugging, plugging in, unplugging, plugging in a lot of times, they eventually come loose, and they just need a bit of tightening every now and then. What happens is on the inside, it's winding and winding, use the wrong finger, winding and winding and winding, and it then exposes that inner part, but also the wires are twisting around, eventually they snap. That's happened on this guitar, I believe, and I've rewired it once with a soldering iron, just very quick, after several years, but I really can't remember, but it's honestly not a hassle at all. It hasn't come loose, I don't think, for quite a while. That's pretty much it, and obviously check your pickup, your screws here, make sure they're good, make sure that's not loose, make sure that's not loose. Look at the overall body, make sure it's got its guard here, and make sure obviously all the holes line up with the, if you can eyeball it, you won't be able to see it on camera, but you should be able to see the ball end or the bullet ends through the holders here. If you can't, just be a little bit cautious, but generally that's fine. And I guess that leaves the most important thing, the separation between the neck and the body. These are bolted on, so these bolts and this plate has to be secure, all 4 bolts in. If you see one screw that's a little bit crooked, a little bit off, probably not a good idea to get the guitar. It probably just shows that it wasn't measured up correctly, wasn't machined correctly, and tone and a few other things you may suffer. But you've got to use your judgment here and take a look at that. So that's that bridge, but let's have a look at what we call a Floyd Rose. Quick. So again, all the same things you want to look at, but we do have a few other concerns here. This guitar has what we call, you can call it fins or shark teeth or sawtooth, sawtooth a little bit different. They've got decorative inlays here. Now what we mean by inlays is that the indicators aren't just a little dot, which of course are generally inlaid into the wood. but it's a lot bigger surface, so that means there's more room for them to have issues, either separate, not be sealed correctly, that sort of thing. So again, run your finger in between the strings and over those sort of little decorative items, or if you have some sort of rose and floral arrangement on the neck on a pretty guitar, run your finger through it. If it's bumpy, if it doesn't sit flush, may not be done right, might be a hack job or an aftermarket job, and you want to look at that as well. Okay, so let's look at the other differences between this style of guitar. You can probably see these inlays a bit better now. This is a locking nut. You will get that with your Floyd Rose guitars. What it essentially is doing is clamping the strings down so they can't move. Again, though, you still got to have tension here. You still got to look for all the same different things here. You'll notice this particular guitar has screws on the end of the machine heads. I'll get right in there and you might be able to see them, maybe not, it's overexposing. But there is a screw holding down each one of these with washers in between the machine heads, so you can actually get little black and white rings here. You want to be careful. If any one of these are missing, and you look at them all and one's missing, bit of a worry. If these screws are loose or look like they've been taken apart, the machine head may have been replaced. It is something to look at if you're buying second hand, but take a look. So again, these screws need to be clamped down. You just want to make sure that the L key that comes with this, Allen key, should be there, but you can buy them from a hardware store quite easily. Again, this one is a very similar arrangement pickup wise to the Stratocaster I showed you earlier. Only difference is we've got humbucker pickups. So it's 5-way selector switch again. You want to make sure that moves. You want to make sure the tone knobs move. You want to be listening for any crackling sounds when you turn these dials. If it works fine when you do it and you're buying second hand, go for it. This does the exact same thing, and I just haven't taken it apart to fix it. It just needs a bit of a clean to get rid of those things, which is beyond what I'm going to explain about today. The other thing is basically the bridge. Now this is a nice pretty golden one. Looks nice and pretty, but you've got to watch what you're looking at. Is there any signs of rust? All these screws worn out. These are called fine tuners, just like a violin. They do wear out and they can fall out when they lose their thread. Not good because the string just cannot stay in tune and you're going to have to get it replaced. So that's something you've got to worry about. The other thing is the tremolo arm. That should come with the guitar. If it's not with the guitar or they can't provide it, well, you can get them replaced. They're on eBay all the time. Not a huge drama, but obviously that's something you should consider as well. So signs of rust. With these ones though, you just got to make sure that you do have your full movement, so back and forward. Obviously they can be locked in place, so if you can't move it back, just inquire there to that point. You got to look at the height, so again, same rule, should be perfectly flat with the body, that's the plate, and you're looking for any signs of rust and things like that. These will be Allen key adjustable, so they shouldn't lose their thread too much, but you do need to look at that sort of thing. Again, plug it in, listen to the sound. Sound should be nice, full and rich. Obviously set your amplifier to just dead even, so 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and then obviously adjust your volume so you can at least hear it in the store. Turn off all the effects and just listen to the tone of the guitar on each pickup. Make sure it's nice, make sure you haven't got any sort of really loud strings on top of another that may indicate issues with the pickups. That's pretty much it with an electric guitar. And let's have a look at an acoustic. Oh guys, I forgot one very important thing to also talk about. That's called action. Google that one, but essentially what it means is the distance between the strings and the frets. So what you want to be doing as your final test to look at a guitar, obviously again, do that old test and just eyeball straight along the neck. The strings, is one string higher than the other, one string extremely low. You should notice a little bit of variance obviously due to the thickness of the strings, but what you really want to do for your test is just play each string really quickly all the way down till you get right up to the very highest fret that you can see. What you're listening for is essentially if you're pressing here but it's buzzing down here, then it's not aligned correctly. Avoid it.